just prepping, getting started on the prep. I've already cleaned the counters with soap and water and then with TSP to really degrease them. This is what they look like. They're actually in really good condition. They are, I think, 11 years old. There's just a few spots that are starting to show its age. In this is starting to kind of separate a little bit, but all in all, they're in quite good condition. This is starting to separate. I just am trying to change the color. I want them to be, this is my sample board. I did a gray stone finish and a white. We're gonna go with this creamy white. So prep, as soon as it's all taped off, first thing I'm gonna do is the Rust-Oleum countertop coating, and I had it tinted white. We'll do a couple coats of that, and then we will continue after that. Okay, this is all the boring stuff, all the prep work. I am using specifically the Gentle Release painter's tape because I painted those cabinets less than a year ago and I don't want anything to mess them up. So this is what I'm using for that. And I'm just finishing taping off the sink. I don't have any caulk or anything like that around it. If you do, I would probably scratch that off because the paint is not going to adhere to that. You're going to have like a really wonky line. But luckily, I do not have any of that. So you can see I just started taping, but I don't have any caulk, any like there, back there, anything like that. This is going to be really difficult to try to get in behind the sink. But again, definitely scratch that off if you do.
This is necessary for the next step. Also, okay, this is what's next, and it is oil based and it is nasty stuff. So I have all the windows open, fan going, and here we go.
It is very fragrant in here. Ooh, nice. This works amazingly well. I smelled nothing while I was right over the paint fumes, laying it down. Smelled nothing. So, let me show you what it looks like after the first coat. Oh, it is so much stronger even just 2 or 3 feet away. All right, so remember my counter was quite dark chocolate brown. So I would say the first coat did a fairly good job. It's very thick, very sticky. You can see very obvious brush marks. I'm guessing I'll need 2, maybe 3 coats. However, I'm gonna be covering it with the stone spray. So I'm not too worried about brush strokes. I do want it completely covered as far as the dark brown, but brush strokes I don't really care about because it's gonna be completely covered up. That being said, I find it very interesting that people just use this to change their counters. So I'm a bit skeptical right now, but maybe after the second coat, then I'll be a believer. The biggest issue is behind here. I knew I was going to get paint all over everything, so that's why I taped up the back of all of that, as well as here. So it was already separating and we didn't have any caulk there. So I think I shoved it into that area as best as I could. And after the second coat and after the stone spray, when it's all said and done, we're gonna go back over it with probably a white caulk anyway. So I don't think I need to be worried about that. Anyway, that is coat number 1 done. So the instructions are very strange. I wonder how long I'm gonna have these marks on my face. That I can do a second coat in either 1 hour or 24 hours. I don't understand that, but I'm choosing 1 hour. So I've already set the timer for 1 hour, and I'm hoping to get at least 2, if not all 3 coats on tonight, let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I will go in with a stone spray, and hopefully it will be finished by tomorrow night. Okay, it smells really bad in here, so I need to leave, but let me show really quickly. I got the second coat on. It almost has me convinced that I would just do this to finish my countertops. You don't even need a sealing coat or anything like that, but look at this right here. Isn't that interesting? So I put on the second coat 1 hour after the first, but there are a couple spots that must have still been just a little bit tacky. I felt the counter and it felt fine, but I didn't feel every place. And so in those places, it pulled it up. So I will have to do just kind of a touch-up coat, not a full third coat, but I'll do a touch-up coat just before bed. But for the majority of it, you don't even see brush strokes, roller strokes, anything like that. So I'm fairly impressed. Yeah, not bad. It's been a couple hours and the smell is still really intense. I just did the touch, so not a full third coat, but this is where it was showing through. So I just touched that up. Also, word to the wise, I taped this when the dishwasher was going, and all of that steam made the plastic fall off and I didn't even realize it. So if that happens, the way to fix that, it is so loud in here, I have so many fans going, is simply isopropyl alcohol and a cotton pad. Let me show you. You can also use nail polish remover. So if you have a major oops on an appliance, this is how you can remove it. Yay! Good morning. It is the start of day 2. I'm about to caulk the back with the silicone, and this is what it looks like this morning. You can see the areas that I touched up. However, that's not going to be an issue because it's going to be covered in the stone spray. So it's not higher than other places. I don't have to worry about it not being level, but there's no sanding or anything that I need to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and caulk the back right there. You can see the crack, and then I will tape off again and start on the stone coat spray. Time for more prep. So I need to cover the sink, and I may or may not hang plastic sheets all the way around this because I'm going to be using spray paint that dries like stone. And did I mention I painted my cabinets? I don't want anything to happen to them. So here we go, prep again. Prep work is done. Spray paint notoriously has a lot of overspray. Kind of looks a little bit like a haunted house. It's time. It's time. This is the scary part. I don't know why. It needs to be really even and really just uniform, and it will be fine. Okay, so this is what I'm using. Krylon Stone Coarse Texture Charcoal Spray. And I got 6 cans of it on sale at Hobby Lobby, and I really hope that my project does not take more than 6 cans, because Hobby Lobby is like an hour and 15 minutes away from me. Well, I already cleaned out their store, so I'd probably have to go like an hour and a half away to get more. So here we go. I've used the rest of that 1 can and 1 other full can of spray paint, and it's still drying, so I might have to go back in with the beginnings of another one just to I don't know if I see any bare spots, but so far so good. Look at that. Doesn't that kind of look like corian or quartz? So the difference is there is a texture on it. Once this is completely dry, I will go in with probably like 220 grit sandpaper and take off some of this texture before I seal it. So you can see it's a little bit mottled. It's still drying, so that's part of it. But that's the hard part, to get it completely uniform. This I did the best on without any kind of darker spots or lighter spots, just because the burst spray of the spray paint is just kind of random and you just have to be super careful, and I tried to be. But a lot of this I can also sand down and then kind of retouch. But so far so good. Love the look of it. That's what I was hoping for. I realized I made a mistake with doing the silicone caulk prior to putting on the stone spray. I noticed it kind of looked like yellowish back there in the seam, and so I wanted to see if it was sticking to it, and it is not. It is not. So I'm gonna have to clean off this back seam and do touch-up spray, and then at the very end I'll put a line of caulk across it. And then after that dries, then I can go ahead and do the polyacrylic. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do another coat, at least 1 more coat. I was looking at my sample board and it has a lot more of the base kind of creamy color in it. And I think I really like that. So I'm just waiting for this to dry, and then I'll go in with another coat. I've made 2 mistakes so far. First is I looked on the can and it said it was going to be dry in 30 minutes. That was a lie. That was a lie. So I decided to, touch it and see if it was ready. No, it wasn't. It was not ready. Okay, so I have tried taking off most of the caulk in the back. So we're going to go for a 3rd coat here. Nope, sorry, I didn't mean 3rd coat. I meant 2nd coat, 3rd can. Although I'm really struggling to figure out if this is silicone or if this is the white counter underneath. Rawr, I gotta figure that out because I don't want to make the same mistake. But most of it I was able to get out. And we will just do a very last line of caulk after it's all done, after polyacrylic is on, after everything. And I knew better. I knew that caulk does not stick to paint.
I don't know what I was thinking. That was so bizarre that like my thought process changed from the very beginning of this to when I put that on there. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm tired, I guess. Anyway, but for the most, it really is looking beautiful. I looked at my project board and it is quite a bit thicker and has quite a bit more gray tones. I don't know that I'm gonna go that thick. I'm actually, this looks to me more like Corian. So yeah, I'm not gonna go that thick. This is why we have sample boards. So we know what to do. Second coat is on. So it is just starting to dry. I did a little bit of a thicker coat this time, but it covered up all the problems, all of the places where it accidentally came off or I had to scrape off or whatever. So hallelujah for that. I've set a timer for 2 hours for it to dry. It actually is still lighter than my sample board, but it's because on my sample, I did the whole thing gray first, and then I put the cream color on top of it. So it's still more gray than just using straight cream like I've done on these countertops. So, which I like so much better. See, it's still quite gray from using gray first. So I'm really excited. After the next couple hours, I will make sure it is dry before starting to sand it. I will sand off just kind of the most pokey texture that's on top, but it will still have a texture. And then I will start on the polyacrylic coats. It is time to start coating it with polyacrylic. So the reason I went with polyacrylic instead of polyurethane or a glaze coat epoxy is because the polyurethane and the glaze coat epoxy are oil-based, which turns yellow over time. So if my countertops were dark, I would totally do it because it is more durable. But because they're light, I do not want to redo them anytime soon. So I will not use the polyurethane. So polyacrylic it is water-based, but it goes over oil or water-based paint or stain. So super excited. Hopefully I don't need more than 3 coats, but I'm prepared to do up to 5. This is what it's looking like. Oh, I love it so much. And it kind of does have a natural sheen to it, but it'll look awesome when it's glossy. And I realized that those mottled areas, those are shadows. I turned off the lights and they're gone. So they're just shadows. I just couldn't tell before because they were so dark. I had dark countertops. So I don't think that's going to bother me. Hopefully not. We shall see. First coat of polyurethane is done. Polyacrylic, not polyurethane. It's looking good. You can kind of see the shine on it a little bit, which makes me excited for when there's like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 coats on it. I'm done. It's 11 o'clock. I just put on the 4th and hopefully final coat. They look awesome. So they should be ready to go in the morning. As long as this moth doesn't land in it. So I put on 4 different coats
2 hours apart. I tried really, really hard on this last coat, especially to not have any brush strokes, roller strokes, I guess I should say. I feel like it looks super uniform, besides the shadows on it, which I can't help about that. I think it looks great. So after it's totally cured, we will just do that caulk line in the back, and we'll finally be able to do our dishes. So my boys, I'm sure, will look forward to that. So again, I did not expect a smooth coat like I would get with kind of like an epoxy. I knew that there would be a texture on it. I don't mind that. That just kind of plays into the whole stone thing, but it is glossy and pretty that way. So I really like that. All done. Okay, final reveal with everything, all the tape taken off, and see what it all looks like all come together tomorrow sometime. So, final video. I did the last coat at 11 p.m. last night, so I did coats of polyacrylic at 5, 7, 9, 11. So 4 coats total. Woke up to it this morning, looks amazing, took off all the tape and all, everything that's been taped off, and I could not be happier. Love it. I love how much lighter and brighter that looks. Oh, I can't wait till I get to do the other L-shaped counters, which I will start in about 2 days. I love that it's this creamy white. Got the caulk all in the back. I love that it doesn't blend with my white cabinets, but it rather complements them. I love the gloss, the shine, everything is just perfect. I did this overspray on purpose without doing a lot of sanding on the edges, because true stone obviously goes over the edge. Pieces of it go through the stone. So I really tried to make it look as authentic as possible. So there you have it. The rest of it will be done by the end of next week. Then to start on the backsplash.